Hi, my name is Adebumi Adeshina. I'm a student of Bachelor of Early Childhood Education at Brock University. This is a podcast about psychoanalyst Erik Erikson. We'll be looking at the historical context, critiques of the theory, and how the theory is important to the field of early childhood education. We also look at the stages of human development as argued by Erik Erikson. Historical context. Sigmund Freud, Jean Piaget, and Erikson are the three theorists that have offered the only truly comprehensive theories of human development. Knowledge of human development is crucial in my practice as an early childhood educator. Among these three theories, I'll be focusing on Erikson. Erik Erikson was born in Frankfurt, Germany in the year 1902 and died in 1994. He studied psychoanalysis at the Vienna Psychoanalytic Institute and was trained by Anna Freud. Erikson, before settling in Vienna, spent his youth traveling in Europe. He arrived at Boston, United States in 1933, where he taught at many major universities. Despite not having a college degree, he was a professor at Harvard, Yale, and Berkeley. His exceptional clinical skills as a child analyst made him to be in demand at major universities. Erikson's theory provides an awareness on how the unconscious state of the human mind can affect their thoughts, feelings, and behavior. This theory is used to explain human behavior. Erikson's first major work was Childhood and Society. It shows his views on psychosocial development. The book is divided into 8 stages. His interest in the social-cultural aspect of identity could be because of his childhood. His biological father was Danish and his stepfather was a Jew. He might have struggled with identity because the Jewish community considered him to be a Gentile, while the Danish community considered him to be a Jew. Erikson's background and his search for his own identity came together to inform his theory. Erikson built on Freud's theory, but he moved away from Freud's traditional psychosexual theory of human development. He believed human personality development goes beyond Freud's last stage of psychosexual theory. Erikson held that personality development depended on resolution of crises arising from trust, autonomy, intimacy, individuality, integrity, and identity, which are dominant of his 8 stages. He focused on the whole life cycle from a social and cultural interaction perspective, while Freud's theory focused on the emotional, clinical side of child development. Erikson described the 8 stages of human development, where he mentioned that we are endowed with 8 social senses and believed they were all present at birth, but have critical periods during a person's life cycle where they can achieve lasting strength or weaknesses. Though he believed we are resilient, so a bad outcome can be corrected at a later stage, but it might take a greater effort. Critics of the theory. The critics of Erikson's theory are the social constructionists. They view the individual as part of the social context. Social constructionist scholars are of the view that people's identity emerge through the kinds of interaction they have with other people at a particular time. Individuals can acquire different identities depending on the nature of their relationship with another person. Unlike Erikson that argued that we form identity during adolescence. The concept of social constructionism in a social context has partly displaced the positivist theory of self and society that formed the basis of Erikson's work. Few authors said Erikson's conceptualization of self and society is restricted because his focus was among young people who were socio-economically and educationally privileged, and he misrepresented the identity of youth that were living in poverty, impoverished, and in a politically oppressed society. Constructionists argue that Erikson viewed identity as something that can be selected freely and did not consider the limitations that can arise from poverty, and he assumed a failure to achieve identity means psychological deficit. Erikson was criticized for writing from a male point of view, which was typical of psychologists of an earlier age, and seemed to believe that analogical reasoning was sufficient reasoning. He did not give attention to cognitive development and gave little to emotional development. Erikson's theory is also criticized for being vague about the causes of development. Critics have asked how a sense of trust in infanthood is important for the development of autonomy, initiative, and identity. They argued that Erikson's theory was ethical, based on his experiences, and did not meet scientific standards. Since Erikson did not have academic credentials, this has made his work the easy target for criticism. How does Erikson's theory shape our practice as early childhood educators? Erikson's 8 stages of psychoanalytic theory are affected by each other. Stages could be affected positively if the earlier stage were filled with good experiences, or it could be negatively affected if it was unpleasant experiences. The conflict in all the stages depend on the quality of experiences an individual has. As an early childhood educator, the first 3 stages of Erikson's psychoanalytic theory are crucial to my practice. The quality of experiences that children have in their early years will go a long way in affecting them in the future, since experiences from an individual childhood influences their adult life and help in shaping their personality. It is important that children's early years are filled with quality relational care and that they have good experiences from birth. Psychoanalytic theory has had a continuing effect on the development of the field of child development. This has been the foundation and guide to early childhood education and the way education is delivered, since it focuses on the social emotional domain. Stage 1. Trust versus mistrust. This is Erikson's first stage. He begins at birth and continues to around 18 months. During this stage, infants do not have knowledge about the world in which they live, and they rely on their caregivers for stability and consistency in the care that they receive. Feeding is one of infants' first and most important ways to learn whether they can have trust in the world or not. When children are hungry or wet, if their needs are met, they will build trust in the world. As an early childhood educator, it is important that we help children develop their trust in the world by giving them responsive care. We must respond to their needs in a caring and timely manner. This will help them develop their trust in the world. When there's a balance between trust and mistrust, this allows the infant to learn that while there might be moments of discomfort, they can rely on their caregivers to provide support. If the caregiver did not provide consistent attention and adequate care, children can develop a sense of mistrust and start to feel insecure. Stage 2. Autonomy versus shame and doubt. This stage occurs between the ages of 18 months to around 3 years. At this stage, children develop a sense of personal control over physical skills to build their autonomy and their sense of independence, such as putting on their shoes, their clothes, and tidying up their toys. As educators, we can support children's autonomy by encouraging them to be independent and do things by themselves. For example, instead of helping children wear their clothes, jacket, or snow pants, we can be supportive by being patient and by allowing children to try until they succeed or until they ask for help. We can show them how to flip their jacket or do it for them. Success in doing this task will help them build their autonomy. When parents approach toilet railing gently and allow children to learn at their own pace, children will develop their autonomy to do things by themselves. Success at this stage builds their will to do things. But if they are rushed in toilet training and they have bathroom accident, and parents or educators react angrily, children will be ashamed and begin to doubt their abilities, which will make them lose confidence in their autonomy and become dependent on others. Also, if children are controlled and not allowed to do things themselves, or we criticize them when they make mistakes, they may begin to feel ashamed of their autonomy and doubt their abilities. Stage 3. Initiative versus guilt. This stage occurs around 3 to 6 years of age. During this stage, children are confident. They show their initiative through directing play and engaging in social interaction with peers. Educators should ensure that children have access to open-ended materials in the class and ensure the home center has lots of material for children to explore and do pretend play. They should be allowed to plan activities and carry out tasks and encourage them to problem solve with peers. When children are allowed to explore materials and lead play, they begin to ask questions and they discover new things, which build their initiative and remove the feelings of guilt. If educators discourage the pursuit of independent activities, dismiss or criticize children's effort in initiative, children may begin to feel guilty. Stage 4. Industry versus inferiority. Erikson stage 4 is between 7 to 11 years. This is when children begin to compare their abilities to that of their peers. They start to learn to read and write. When children develop skills, they gain a sense of industry, a sense of competence and belief in their ability. When parents or teachers give negative feedback to children, they begin to feel inferior and start to lose their zeal. Stage 5 is identity versus role confusion. This happens between 12 to 18 years. Adolescents begin to search for a sense of self. They want to find their personal identity through exploration of their beliefs. When this happens, they gain their identity. Otherwise, there's a role confusion when the process of finding their identity becomes difficult. Stage 6, intimacy versus isolation. This is a stage during young adulthood. Between 19 to 39 years, adults begin to form intimate and loving relationships. Failure to achieve this can result in isolation. Stage 7 is generativity versus stagnation. This stage happens during middle adulthood, 40 to 64 years old. Individuals' purpose is to focus on building life, career, family, and contributing to society. That way they gain generativity. Otherwise, stagnation happens when they feel that they are not being productive or have any positive impact. Stage 8, this is the last stage. Ego, integrity versus despair. This happens around 65 years of age. People look back at their achievements in life, and if they feel they've done well, they have ego, integrity, or they develop a sense of despair if they feel they have failed. Thank you.